Alrighty, I don't know what happened. We are live, and somehow just now, Krisstina just got kicked off. So hopefully she will join us back here in just a second. We'll text her. Good afternoon, tribe. I'm super excited to have our guest on today, and let's see if we can hear you. I know you got kicked off right as.
Oh my gosh, I know. Okay, I'm back. I'm here.
Yay. Hold on, I was like texting Danielle. Where does she go? Anyway, so I just want to really get an opportunity to introduce you to a really great friend of mine. Krisstina and I are very good friends. We've been friends for years, actually, and been part of her masterminds. And just one of the things that I so appreciate about Krisstina is how much she's willing to give of herself to provide knowledge and information and everything. And she is a self-made multimillionaire. She's built a number of businesses, very, very successful. She's a total badass, and I'm just really happy to have her here. And this is one of the things that I will tell you. I have a handful of people that are my coaches, and Krisstina is one of my coaches. She's one of my money coaches. And so she is coaching actually me and Keith currently through a program that she has called Curbs. And I cannot speak highly enough about this. I have said this number of times to her, is that I honestly believe that before a high school student can graduate from high school, they should have to go through that program and pass that program because it would be so helpful, and our financial systems and our just everything would be in so much better shape if Kristina's program was part of educating our young kids. So anyway, thank you so much, Krisstina, for coming on. And one more thing that I didn't say about Krisstina is Krisstina, just total badass, like I said. So of course, like a total badass entrepreneur, she's burning both candles at both ends, totally, going balls out, balls to the wall, whatever you call it. Anyway, and of course, wrecked her health in 2013, spent $500,000 to get her health back. And fortunately for her, she had that kind of money. But she has such an incredible story, and you don't have to spend that kind of money to get your health back. But she was fortunate at the time. She was able to do that and just really reset, do lots of things. But she's got lots of great information for us. So I'm so happy to have you on.
Oh, it's so great to be here, Michelle. And, I adore you, and you're one of my favorite people in the entire world. And I'll say these are interesting times right now. And even using a word like badass, we may be in situations where we don't feel that even at this exact moment. And Michelle, you're the one that reminded me I was a badass when I didn't even feel it myself. And so it's what's so great about having people you love and love around you, is just to remind us that, yeah, we're all going to get through whatever the situation is. We can all get through it together.
Amen. And this is the thing too, is that one of the things that we all forget all the time is that every situation is temporary. Mm-hmm. That's good and that's bad. And so that means we need to really, really savor and really enjoy and be in the moment when times are really good. And then when times are not, like right now, where things are really uncertain and a little bit crazy, this is the time where you come together with your tribe and you just like hold hands and you stay together and everybody keeps each other going. And this is when that's so important. But one of the main reasons I have Krisstina coming on here is, the whole thing around our series is resiliency and becoming hard to kill. And part of that, and so, and you can do that, and it's not too late. I know a lot of people are thinking, oh no, I'm totally screwed because I didn't have things in place. And you know what? You're not alone in that, and it's not too late. And you know what? This is the perfect time for you to get your ducks in a row and start getting started in this process. So anyway, so I wanted to kind of just throw this to Krisstina. and I'm finding this really fascinating, and this is something I really planned on bringing to PaleoFX long before the COVID thing. I was already planning on bringing this to PaleoFX, was how does money, and particularly stress with regard to money, interfere or have effect on our health and our relationships?
Well, it's a significant piece. I mean, even with what's going on today, money is such a big part of that, isn't it? That there's the physical immunity, but then there's the fiscal, like how fiscally immune are we? And if we don't have much immunity built up, there's a lot more fear and chaos and, built around that uncertainty. So yeah, like money's real. Like how do we pay our bills is real. How do we keep our businesses going is real. How does money, function as communication in our relationship is real. So yeah, money's always present. It just tends to be something that we, for whatever reasons, we want to push it out, that it's like it doesn't exist when it's in the fabric of everyday life all the time. It's just now in these times, we weren't really paying attention too much to our physical immunity before. Like some people, they're taking their supplements every day and they already have a really strong immune system because that's just the way they live, with their diet and their supplements and their lifestyle and even mitigating stress and meditation. Like they're really as prepared as possible going into this type of environment, that they might have less fear around even contracting the virus if that happened, because none of us are fully immune unless we're like completely living in a cave by ourselves right now, as opposed to somebody that maybe hasn't been taking care of themselves so much and is a little bit behind the game. Now, does that mean like, I shouldn't take supplements now, and it's too late because I haven't been doing it, and oh, screw it, I'm going to not even worry about this thing. I'm just going to go out in public and do my thing? Of course not. No matter where anybody is on the physical side, it's like, all right, now's the time to start paying attention to my health and like boost up my immune system as much as I can, so that if I were to contract it, that I'm not going to be the death statistic, one of the few. So same on the fiscal side is, no matter where we are, if we've been prepared for this, great, but if not, it's like, what can we do right now to start preparing ourselves and protecting ourselves for the financial storm that is upon us? And a metaphor that I've been giving, it's funny, I did an interview today with Eric Edmonds, and, and he's in Dominican Republic. He said, oh, so this is a great one because we have hurricanes all the time. But I was saying that where we are right now is, let's pretend that, I'm in Austin, Texas, Michelle, you're in Austin, Texas, and it's a beautiful day, finally outside. And I was sitting outside earlier, and it's just so peaceful, and the sun's out, there's a light breeze, it's 80 degrees, the birds are chirping. I mean, you would never know there's a problem in the world. And let's say, so I'm sitting out there, and let's say there's somebody on the balcony next door that's doing exactly the same. She's sitting out on her balcony. We could even wave at each other if we wanted to. Now, that's great. Happy-go-lucky, looks beautiful, pretend there's no COVID, and we're just out enjoying the balcony. Now, let's pretend out of the two balconies, one of us knows a category, like it doesn't happen in Austin, but metaphorically speaking, let's pretend one of us knows that a Category 5 hurricane is hitting tomorrow. The thing is what's confusing is that right now it feels very peaceful and normal. So if one person knows a Category 5 is coming, and on the other balcony they don't, what is the difference between how the two people are acting?
Sorry, I had my mic muted just so. I have dogs over here, and they tend to like to be part of the recording. So I was like turning it off just in case. Yeah, exactly. Like, what exactly have you done to prepare, and what are you going to do when that Category 5 hits? So yeah, it's totally appropriate, especially right now. So let me ask you a question.
We're in a storm. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, please. I was going to say, we're in a storm. The storm is coming. We're already in it. It just hasn't quite fully hit land yet. And so now we need to act, and whatever we can do, like some people maybe can have access to, I don't know, 6-inch plywood and other maybe an inch, but it doesn't matter. It's just like whatever we can do with whatever resources we have right now to prepare for the storm. And we're all going to weather the storm.
Mm-hmm.
We're all going to weather through this hurricane just fine. But a storm, if you haven't already felt this effects of the storm, if it hasn't hit land in your home yet, it's going to hit. Mm-hmm. So, but we don't have to panic about that. If we're prepared, we're going to be just fine and we can weather it. But by virtue of ignoring it, denying it, Pollyanna-ing it, or just being in fear mode and that type of thing, none of that's going to help us. So it's like, what can we do to prepare the storm that's upon us and then weather it as we're in it.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. What is, so I've been very fortunate that I'm going through the Kristina's program Curbs right now, which is really perfect timing. couldn't have planned that better anyway. But it's a great program. But what are a few things that people can do like right now today that they could see immediate improvements in their financial health, and particularly like with what's going on right now? So say you have somebody that's sitting here watching that they have been either laid off permanently or even maybe temporarily from their job, so they have no current income happening. What are the things that they can do? Because obviously their bills are likely not stopping while this is all happening. So what are some of the things and tips that you can give them today that they could really help themselves not have so much panic or so much fallout when everything is over?
Yeah, so I actually wrote, in light of everything going on and a lot of the coaching I was doing over the last couple of weeks and in the midst of this, as well as my own intuitive actions that I took. So one is that first thing I did is when I saw this happening and coming, I automatically went into my own, let's say, financial emergency mode. So even when I'm teaching Curbs, that's what I do on a normal day. That's normal life as usual. That's what those of you that are in the program are learning. Now we're even going Curbs X Factor. It's like even more so. So I wrote something. It's called I think here, the 12 steps every business owner, entrepreneur, and family needs to do to build as much financial immunity as possible during this financial storm, if you will. Mm-hmm. And the 12 steps, Michelle, are at financiallyimmune.com. If anybody just wants the free PDF, you can follow as I go along. We'll just talk about a few of them here. But financiallyimmune.com has all my 12 steps. And to answer your question, there are 12 action items of things to do right now. But first of all, to get us started, the first one I like to talk about, which is what I it's always number one in even the best case scenario. And it's what I call, it really is money mindset. Mm-hmm. And the mindset piece is really crucial as always, but it's an interesting mindset because I've seen both camps in the sense that one, the mindset, the fear mindset, like, oh my God, I've only got 30 days. I've lost this. And I mean, it's very easy with the news and with the reality of the situation to downward spiral very quickly. But we all know when we get in panic or fear, we can't make intelligent decisions. Our prefrontal cortex shuts off. So in that case, we really do want to get rid of the news. We want to get rid of just more fear and really just and work to pull ourselves out of much fear as possible, even in times of uncertainty. With that said, I see some people saying kind of Pollyanna too, like, oh, this is going to be just fine. We're going to bounce back and right away. And we don't know if that to be true or not. Mm-hmm. So in this time, the mindset, it can't be pessimistic or Pollyanna. Mm-hmm. The mindset, from my point of view, is it's a blend of a few different things, but it's a serious mindset. Like, we're in a storm. If we were at sea right now, we just got hit by an unexpected hurricane in the middle of the ocean when things were just fine. We were just kind of partying and dancing around and having cocktails on the boat and listening to music, and it was beautiful. Unexpected storm, our moods just got serious. It doesn't mean we have to be doomsday and we're drowning and the ship's going down, but it is like, it's serious. So we need to figure out what we're doing to be able to navigate this situation. So that's just the mindset piece. And just to be very much checking in, I've even been telling the story too, as I talked to Mikra, our friend Mikra, and I was saying, yeah, it's interesting. is my body, my physical body is actually having a stress reaction. I'm noticing, whoa, I'm more shortness of breath than usual. Whoa, I'm having more trouble going to sleep. I'm waking up and I'm having dreams about this type, what's going on right now. So like even my nervous system and my physical body is having kind of a stress reaction, but my mind is like, hey, this is an adventure. We've been on Earth, and Earth has been, very predictable and pretty easy and that type of thing. But now we've just unexpectedly landed on Mars. Mm-hmm. It's a little scary. My nervous system's responding because I've never been on Mars before, but I'm still me and I know how to navigate. I have my skills, hard to kill, resiliency on the physical side. But now let's turn this into adventure. What's the puzzles we're trying to solve, and how do we navigate, again, this situation? But anyway, the mindset I recommend is a serious mindset. We're in a storm, so we have to do what I call adulting and start showing up in a very serious adult financial mood. And we're going. I mean, I always preach you need to look and be intimate with your money. Now it's not a choice. If it's the financial live or die is getting on top of your money right now. So that's the mindset piece that is about get serious with your money. Adult, you have to start getting to your numbers I'm going to talk about. But then it's not about panic or doomsday. It's about this is a new adventure. Maybe I've been putting this off and now it's a good time to create this new skill set.
It's funny because I've been saying cautiously positive. I'm very cautiously positive, but I am saying positive because at the end of the day, whatever happens, if you have really created your life team and the people and your tribe around you, I know without a doubt that Keith and I will be perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. Even if we lost everything, we would be perfectly fine because we have people that we know that we could, they would help us, whatever. So just remember that at the end of the day, and I have a different mindset around a lot of stuff because my true belief around all of this is we lost our daughter, Brittany, 10 and a half years ago. And after that, there's just not a whole lot of fear because once you live through something like that, everything else just seems pretty minuscule. The only thing I think that we could ever go through that would be as horrific as that is losing another child. And that's not going to happen as far as I'm concerned. So my whole thing is that it's not, everything will ultimately pass. And the thing is that there are days when that's hard still, but it's never ever going to be as hard again as it was the day she passed away. And so I know that whatever's happening right now will pass and it will get through it. And, that's the big thing is that, I mean, at the end of the day, if I ended up millions of dollars in debt, it is what it is. I mean, and it's just not something that there's still nothing worse than what happened 10 and a half years ago. Still.
Yeah. And I just love your spirit and your mindset and a big piece, not to spend too much on the mindset piece, just to give some really practical advice here, but a big part of this too is, there's what sometimes, there's like these, let's say there's probably three camps, those that are a little bit more desperate. There's less than 30 days, the emergency fund, and it's pretty dire financially. There's the middle group that can hold on for a while, and, if they got some cash, but they can't go on indefinite, for too long. But they've got less financial stress right now. So they do have, they can carry on and navigate business and do that type of thing. Then there's another camp that says they have a lot of money and they will absolutely just be fine financially. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't matter. A lot of times those in, let's say, camp 1 or camp 2 think, oh, if I was in camp 3, I'd just be fine if I had all that money. The thing is even the energy and the frequency, those many times that are suffering most, believe it or not, are those in camp 3 because they're so attached to their money and they don't know who they are and they have so much fear of losing it. And a lot of them just like this is where money's not even real. They think they lost all their money in the market. Let's just say they lost $1 million in the market based on the market crashing. Now they're just so, let's say they have plenty of more millions somewhere, but they're just so distraught and angry and sad, or whatever the case is, that they lost $1 million, because now there's that attachment. So they're in just as much fear, because they're fear of losing what they have, that they're living in this type of fear. So the fear can be the same among all categories. Mm-hmm. Or to be seriously positive, like optimistically cautious, to use your words, is like, we're going to get through this. But the attachment, to your point, is like, it is what it is. So if we're attached to this, but don't think that people that have a lot of money are in any better of a psychological position, right? Because they're just as miserable, if not more miserable. In a way, it's like, wow, I feel in a much better situation, that I don't have that problem, that I'm not so attached to my money that if I can't even be grateful for the fact that I'm in the situation I'm in.
Right.
All right. So to get to down some of the nuts and bolts, I'll talk about a few of my 12, and going through curbs, for example, there's an exercise that I have my curb students do. It's called Money and Meaning. And you go through every single expense and you label it. Like, this spending in my business or in my household, is it meaningful? In the business, is it meaningful in the sense, like, does this expense create more revenue for me? Or is it just kind of an expense that I accumulated somewhere? More importantly, in the household, same thing. Like, this spending isn't meaningful. And curb students, after they go through the exercise, would say things like, wow, I didn't realize I was eating out so much. It's just a convenience. I wasn't paying attention. And it's really the opposite of meaningful, because I'm eating a lot more bad food and the expense and this. And so by going through this exercise, it just really brings this awareness of the money we spend that's not attached to meaning. Well, now we're doing that same exercise, but even more so. So versus meaningful, meaningless spending, now it's essential, non-essential spending. So the very first thing for everyone to do, no matter where you are, this was the first thing I did, was it's looking at places to cut the fat. And fat means spending that's non-essential. What we're doing is we're working both in our business and our personal to get the burn rate is recurring burn rate. Burn rate means month over month over month. Get that burn rate as tight as possible. We want to be lean and nimble right now more than ever, especially lean and nimble in our business, and just have a very sustainable, lowest burn rate possible in our household. Because when times are good, there's something called expense creep in business, expense creep in household, and our spending just goes up without our knowing it. When we're not paying attention, we're getting a little fat and happy. We've got on a few extra pounds. So now's the time to get rid of that extra financial weight and cut it. But we're cutting it just down to the essentials, because what we want to do is part of putting the plywood up on our windows for the hurricane. This is what we're doing by getting that spending down to the absolute essentials. And when times are good, we're spending with less concern. Now we're going to spend very mindfully, and just do what I'm calling cut the weight, cut that excess fat. And that might look like, even let's say 2 weeks ago, when the meaningful, meaningless spending, we might have been looking at our household expenses like, we really, right now, it's pretty meaningful for, we work really hard, and one thing we enjoy is watching movies. And so we want to keep the Hulu and the Netflix and the Amazon and maybe some cable channels. We really like watching the sports. And, so that might have been something we said yes to, even in the meaningful exercise a couple weeks ago. Now it's like, is this absolutely essential? And if not, where 2 weeks ago, we might not have cut it, we might be cutting it now. So it's just getting down to the bare, without, being ridiculous about it, but as much as possible to get down to the essential category right now on our spending.
Sorry, I had to unmute again because the dogs did go crazy. They were starting to bark, and I was like, no. Thank you so much. If you are on with us, please feel free to ask questions in the comments. We'll be sure to get Krisstina to answer them. And of course, if you're watching on replay, and I'll get Krisstina to come back and answer the questions for us, and at a later time, no problem. And then the other thing is too, is that if you know someone that's really struggling right now, particularly with the financial piece, and that they're really worried about what's going to happen, or maybe they've just been, laid off, or their business is closed down right now because of everything that's happening with COVID-19, please share this with them so that it gives them a little bit of insight into what they can do and how they can come through all of this. And at the end of the day, one of the things that we've been talking about, Krisstina and I are in a couple of groups together, excuse me, a couple of women's entrepreneurs groups together. And it's really nice to be able to rely on your friends and be able to bounce ideas off and really have this constant thing. So we highly recommend you please bring together your tribe, the people that you really count on the most. Really make sure that you have that piece in place. I can't, we talk about 7 pillars of health at PaleoFX. And right now, I think the most, besides the physical health right now, the most important health is your tribal health and your spiritual health. So I really, really recommend everybody make sure you get that in place, but share this with someone that might be really struggling and having trouble, because I know this is my personal coach, and I trust her and would not bring her on here with this audience and with my tribe here if I did not trust her enough to know that she would take good care of you and answer your questions and help. And I'm just hoping that you're finding just even this conversation helpful. And I know it is to me, because yesterday was a really rough day for PaleoFX. And fortunately for me, I only had one live yesterday, because it would have been really hard to come on and be really positive yesterday, but it was a struggle. And the thing is that having an opportunity to bounce ideas off this group that I'm involved in, talk to Krisstina to know what's happening in her world and other people's, was really able to bring me back to the positive place that I've been for the last couple of weeks. It was a real struggle yesterday. So please share it. And the thing is it's going to be a struggle for some of us on different days. And the thing is, for me, it's more about this, for me, it's not the struggle for me, but it's the struggle for my team, and whether or not, what's going to happen with my team. I feel very responsible. They're my family. And so anyway, just wanting to kind of throw that out there. But yeah, anything else you can add, Krisstina, as far as things that people can do right now to help start building their financial immunity would be awesome.
Yeah. And, just Michelle, please call me at midnight if you need to, if you just need to talk or need 2 cents or just need a listening ear, because we're all going to need that probably one day or another.
Yeah.
Thank you again. And so that's the essential, non-essential exercise I'd recommend. The big piece to this right now, it's taking action. Whatever we can do to take some sort of action actually helps alleviate a lot of the fear. So when we know we're acting and we're doing something, we have a better response. We can only do what we can, but I recommend do what you can, start acting on things we can control and try to let go things we just can't. I mean, that's a big thing, as if we're trying to navigate this storm. So that's one thing we can do, take action on, like I said, is cut that fat. Another piece of that is to start negotiating terms of things. And I've been doing a lot of coaching on this. It's like wherever, if it might be time to renegotiate and refinance your house. I've had clients already negotiate their car loans, negotiate terms on different types of loans. I'm looking to renegotiate my business loan right now, which is the only debt that I have, but it's business debt. And if I can renegotiate it, because business is uncertain for everyone right now. So that's the next step to take action. And it takes time, but what else are we doing? We're trying to work and keep our businesses going. And then there's all this other time. So I'm just calling this, take time to get your financial house in order, and going through and looking at every single expense and every single term and seeing if there's an opportunity to negotiate things. Because banks especially, they're going to want some money as opposed to no money. And therefore, in a conversation I had earlier, the way to go about that is just remember that we're all humans in this together, and we're just having a conversation and being honest with another human and saying, you know what, My business I'm in the event business and it just got canceled. And normally we have 8,000 people and this would be what the revenue looks like. And it carries us for 12 months. And with this coronavirus that just got wiped out, and you see my credit history, I've always paid, but this was unpredictable. And I want to be a good client to you and give you forewarning. I just we don't know right now. Is there anything you can do to negotiate some of these terms so that we both can help each other through this? So it's just having those types of conversations and go through the list. And some might be yes, some might be no, but at least going through. So again, these are steps and actions that we can all take to look to negotiate any terms of any type of debt or opportunity, if you will. So that's in that category. The next thing following that is that's the first step. These are actually in order. So I want you to do that. And what you're doing, like a lot of people like, oh my God, I need to go make more money and focus on this. That comes later. The first, what you can control is a certain amount of spending. So that's what we can control. Like we can get $50 off our expense right now. Like everybody can go find $50 they can eliminate. That means you have $50 a month that you're like $600 a year, basically right there that you're finding. So imagine all those $50 that could add up to real money right now. So that's something you can find. You just gave yourself a $50 pay raise by letting go of that expense. So it's counterintuitive, but the first place to give yourself a raise is by cutting the fat. Even though everybody else is saying, oh, pivot and do this, we do that, but only after. Yeah. So the second piece then after that is the first one's mindset. The second one's cut the fat. The third thing to do is what I call stockpile as much as possible. Now, this isn't possible for everyone, but even the little bits, it's like the onesie twosies can matter in this where we are right now. But just like we've been stockpiling cash and water, not cash, where we've been stockpiling toilet paper and water, and standing in line for these things. On the financial immunity side, we need to stockpile cash. Cash is king. There's a reason why that's the saying. We don't pay much attention to it in good times because we just think it's going to go on forever. There's a reason why, money experts like me say emergency fund, because there is always an emergency that comes to bite our ass when we least expect it. It's just the way things work. Maybe it's a test or I don't know. But that's why we have an emergency fund. It's why, like, imagine if all of the US right now had 6-month emergency fund cushion. Imagine the difference in the situation we'd be in as a country financially. Like if it's mandatory or something like, okay, yeah, we need to get our shit together and repivot and do all these things in 6 months. But we have 6 months. Thank God we can breathe if everything goes to hell in a handbasket. Well, most of us don't have that. It's okay. But just to theoretically now understand why that's so important. But the next thing is even if we only have 30 days, not 30 days, what we're doing, we're finding money is some of that money we just found, we want to reroute as much as we can to an emergency fund, an emergency bucket. Even if it's just $50 a month or $100 or $1,000, start funneling all that money that we might be otherwise spending in some non-essentials. Right now, stockpiling cash. So that might be just finding some money, we start stockpiling it no matter how much. I've been telling my own story that I'm just cashing in my cash value on my whole life policy to put cash aside because cash is what pays the bills. And I've been talking to others. I've had some say, should I borrow against, I just talked to a dentist and was coaching a dentist. She's like, my business is out of business right now. And I need probably 3 months, for my household. And do you have any suggestions? I said, well, if you have equity in your home, it might be time for a HELOC to pull cash out of your home and put it in a cash account. Like be your own banker, borrow money from yourself. That's why we borrow. We borrow money in a business loan to pay it back, to grow our business, pay it back. So we're borrowing money maybe from ourselves. So stockpiling cash might look at a HELOC, like pull equity out of your house if you have a home. Could be refinancing your home if you have that opportunity. It could be borrowing against your 401k if you need it just to get cash. Because remember, everybody's going to get through this. We're going to be better off on the other side like we always are. It's just, how are we weathering the storm? How are we getting our boat as strong as possible to be able to course correct and stay afloat while we're in it? And then when we are on the side, it's going to be smooth sailing again. But that's it. It's just look for ways to cash. An actual Curbs client that I talked to right before this, we had the same conversation, and he said, well, Krisstina, normally I pay off my credit cards in full every single month, but I was making some pretty good investments right before, 2 weeks ago. Should I pay off my credit cards fully this month? I said, probably not. If that's going to eat up all your cash, I'd say keep your cash and maybe just pay the minimum payments for a while and keep that going. Now, here's the thing. I said, what's your interest rate? So he pulled it up right there and he said, oh, it's 18.9. I said, well, if that's the best cash, if that's the best loan you can get right now to have cash, then that's the best loan. But here's some things to do. Try to maybe go back to your credit card and see, hey, are there any terms? Can I get a different credit card where I can pay off these 2 loans, maybe at a 0 interest rate for a while, because I just lost my earnings because my 2 clients who were supposed to come in this last month just canceled. And so I'm concerned about paying you, the credit card company. I want to keep my credit high. Can you take these down, just bundle those into one loan with a new credit card and maybe a 0 or some type of introductory type offer for the next 12 months? So then you just bought down that interest rate, and you're stockpiling that cash. So otherwise you would have gone to pay off those credit cards. So see what I'm saying? It's becoming like we've got this checklist of things to do, and we're using some creativity as well, kind of trying to think outside that silly proverbial box we always talk about. And what are things that I can do or negotiate or create or what might be available to be able to reduce some expenses and have some access to cash to carry me, if both of those are possible.
Oh, great stuff. So important. I know we're doing a lot of that right now, negotiating interest, negotiating our loans, and trying to really get all of that stuff taken care of right now. So appreciate you coming on and talking to our tribe about all of this. You guys, the links in the comments to get her 12-step program, which we've been teasing her about. 12 steps. But anyway, it is a
12-step program right now for many of us, right?
Anyway, you guys, if you have questions, please put them in the comments. I'll get with Krisstina to try to get you back answers. And please share this with anyone that you know might really could use some good news about finances and just some perspective around how all of this is working. And so we just want to make sure that we're helping everyone as much as we possibly can, and want to just want to make sure that our tribe is all covered and that we're giving you as great of information as we possibly can. And like I said, she's our personal money coach, so we definitely trust her and definitely want to make sure that you guys are covered. And again, Krisstina will be speaking at Pillow FX this year like she has in the past. She'll also be at Health Entrepreneur FX. And so just want to make sure all of you are aware of that, and that you look forward to coming and actually meeting Krisstina in person and getting a chance to know her and what she's all about. She has an incredible tribe that she runs with her group. And anyway, thank you so much, Krisstina, for coming on. I appreciate you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
And I love you.
I love you, girl.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us again. I believe Keith will be back a little bit later today, so y'all tune in for that. And we will see you guys again soon. Thanks.